I unfortunately was told I couldn't take hormone replacement therapy either, which I would have been a great candidate for. I didn't feel confident anymore. Like I just felt like I'm not up to this job. It's time for me to move on, which is very sad. And I would urge any woman that's starting to feel that way, don't ignore it. Go see your GP. There's lots of help available.
Welcome to Your Second Act, the podcast that proves that life doesn't have to end at 40, 50, or even 60, because when it comes to living your best life, age is just a number. When is it too soon in midlife to walk away from work? I'm not talking about retirement. That's a scary word. I mean, taking a bold leap, leaving behind everything familiar to embrace the unknown. Today on Your Second Act, we're joined by a really lovely friend of mine, Jane, who made that daring choice, leaving behind a 30-year corporate career for a life of freedom, adventure, and self-discovery. It wasn't a sudden decision. It was a gradual realization fueled by growing sense of unfulfillment, the challenges of menopause, and a longing for a different lifestyle. As a spark she once felt for her career began to fade, Jane has found herself craving something more. So instead of sticking to the grind like a lot of us do, she took the leap to set out on a new journey, traveling around Australia with her husband, Rob. Now, in this episode, Jane opens up about what it took to make such a life changing decision, the trade offs involved, the unexpected joy she discovered in the simple moments from catching her first fish, walking along the beach at sunrise, to forming deep connections with fellow travelers. So, if you've ever wondered whether it's time to redefine what fulfillment looks like for you, Jane's story will inspire you to consider taking that first step towards your second act. So, let's dive in. Hi, Janie. I love when friends come on the podcast. I find it so special, and especially when they've made really bold moves that so many midlifers dream about. And a lot of people would love to make those big changes in their lives, but fear and uncertainty just really holds us back. And you've taken the plunge into a whole new chapter. And I really can't wait to hear your insight in what it's really been like to embrace such a change. So let's just start at the beginning, because in the last, I'd say this year, you've embraced leaving a 30-year corporate career, empty nester because your daughter's moved away to university. And then you and your gorgeous husband, Rob, decided to pack up, get in your caravan, and start traveling around Australia. Now, I know a lot of people would say, I would absolutely love to do something like that. So, why did you decide to make this big change?
So first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast, Michelle. As you know, I'm a big fan. I think I've listened to every single one of your episodes and I've got a lot out of each of them. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me on the other side of the table.
Yeah,
It's great
of
speaking.
course.
And oh gosh, that is when you say it like that, I kind of go,
Yeah.
wow, yeah, it's quite a lot of change.
Mm.
I mean, first of all, the empty nester thing, that kind of wasn't my choice, obviously. That was thrusted on me by my daughter who decided to go away to university. Um, Although I was so happy that she did and I wanted her to do that. But that definitely created an opportunity and was part of made it a little bit easier, let's put it that way, because she wasn't going to be here. So, great opportunity for us to also go away and do something and not sit here pining for her, which would be very easy to do. We do really miss her. So why did I make the change? It wasn't something that happened quickly, or I didn't kind of wake up one day and go, "Oh, I want to give up my job and go traveling." Like it
Mm.
didn't. That's not kind of how it happens, and I don't think big decisions typically do happen that way. I would say it just emerged as it started as an idea that just grew and grew over a number of years. And I think with any big decision like that in life, I find there's usually a bit of pull and a bit of push. So you're both running away from something, which maybe you're a bit dissatisfied with the status quo, but you're also moving towards something, running towards something which is really exciting and different and that you hope is going to be different or better. And so for me, it was a bit of both. So definitely the pull was greater. So Rob and I just, we were getting to a certain age and starting to think about what do we want to do in the future? Like, what might retirement look like? So we were just starting to engage in that conversation and both landed on definitely lots of travel. We'd love to explore Australia. We've been here for 16 years and really haven't seen enough of it. And we both love camping. And so why not doing a caravan? And so that kind of idea of traveling, but it was just an idea, right? And it was something we were going to do at some point in the future. And then what happened, Shell, was just people started getting sick. Like that was quite a sudden thing. Like friends that were otherwise, in our mind, young, fit, healthy, just suddenly debilitated by some random illness. And then a real turning point was probably about, I don't know how, maybe 2 years ago, or maybe not quite that. But my brother in law, literally 61 years of age, um, on holiday one minute, was dead the next. And to the point where we were in the UK visiting, we're around this table having dinner, and this chair was sat there that he should have been in because he died like before we had time to cancel cancel his spot in the reservation, that kind of thing. And so we saw that and we were like, gosh, maybe we don't know how long we've got left. Like, I don't want to be morbid. I'm not being morbid,
No,
but
it's
you
true.
can plan for this for 10, 15 years' time, but we might A, not be fit or able or even like here to do that. So it was like, what are we waiting for? And then Emily says, I'm going to go away to uni and I'm going to live away from home. And we're like, oh, okay, she's not going to be here. So it then just came from something that was 10 to 15 years out to, well, why not now? And then we engaged with a financial advisor so we could understand what would that mean. And if we were to give up work now or stop for a while, could we afford to do that? And so we worked through all of that. And then there was the other side of it, which was, and I have had an amazing career. I have loved every minute of it. I made a lot of sacrifices and I'd do it all over again. Like, I know I wasn't there a lot when Emily was growing up, but I had the best opportunities and brilliant work, got to travel the world, and it might seem very selfish, but I would do it all again. She's turned
Yeah.
out great, and I would do it all again because it was just, I've had an amazing career. But and I don't know when this happened. I really can't pinpoint it, but in the last few years, something changed. And again, it was probably gradual, but I just started to lose my enjoyment of my job. Like I would find I'd get to the end of the day and I was tired, often emotional. Um, Sometimes angry, sometimes frustrated, but it was like more of that, more feeling that way than feeling like I was getting any joy from it. And
Mm.
there's probably other things going on with menopause, which we could probably talk about. But, and maybe it was about me and my mindset, but I just wasn't fulfilled the same way anymore. And I just felt like this has to be more to life than this. Like, so when you add that to then this, everyone's dying and this great vision that we had of this life together and traveling and being free, it just seemed like a no-brainer. And so the other thing I would say about it was that idea of I'm going to give up my job. I'm never going to work again. I'm going to sell my house and move to Central Coast. I could never have made that decision all in one go. Like that was huge. So it wasn't, it was like, what's the first step? The first step is let's have a sabbatical. Let's take a year off and let's go do some
Mm.
travel. And then let's just see. We might hate it. We
Yeah.
might love it. Who knows? We don't need a long-term plan. Let's just plan the next few months. And so that's what we
And
did.
I think this is, you've just hit on something. It's like one step at a time. Let's just make
Mm,
a short-term plan. I think a lot of people feel if it's the word retirement, right? And I think like you
yes.
and I, we're of similar age in our mid-50s, and we're not at retirement age, but you've stopped work. Like another friend of mine said, "No, I've stopped working. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
I've retired. I'm never going to do anything
Yeah.
else. Like your life just moves
Yeah.
into a different direction." But yes, I think the whole idea of I'm going to give up this massive career of mine, change everything that I've ever known to do something that I might I might have an idea of what I want, but I'm not too sure. But I think what you said, it's like, let's just take the year off. And by taking that year off, I'll work out what it is that I want. I just need a
Yeah.
short term plan. And I really think that's a great idea because it's really daunting, isn't it, to think, well, what's the next half of my life going to look like? I don't know. None of us know. Like you said, your dear friend dropped dead at 61. That's young. So, how do you feel now that you are, we're in October and you stopped working in December last year, was that right?
End of the year, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How has it been, this short-term plan of yours?
Oh, it's just been amazing. And I don't like, I'm not Pollyanna, as you know, Michelle, and I'm happy to talk about some of the downsides, but it has just been an amazing year to date. I've loved traveling like you wouldn't believe. Like, it's just been amazing. It's been amazing for Rob and I. And I have learned, I really thought, and everyone told me, oh, you'll be bored, you'll be straight back to work in a flash, and you work such an important part of your life. How can you go from working 10 to 12 hour days to not working? I can tell you, I have not been bored, not once, not a single day if I've been bored. In fact, most days I get to the end of the day and I still have a to do list, and I'm like, oh, didn't get to that. Oh wow, I should have done that. Oh well, I'll do it tomorrow. It's fine. I literally couldn't and I've taken up lots of new things, and I'm so busy, but busy doing stuff everything that I'm doing is giving me so much joy. I can't tell you. And it's just been amazing. Best thing I ever did.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And I know I'm lucky that financially I can do that. So I want to put that out there.
Sure.
No, not everybody can do what we've done. So I do understand that. It's unrealistic to think people can just give up their jobs and go off and do whatever. But um, it's been amazing.
Ladies, I am so excited to be co hosting a special event next February in Manly called Your Second Act, Thriving in Midlife. Join me and the amazing Emma from Emma's Nutrition on Saturday, the 1st of February, for a transformative 1 day experience overlooking the stunning harbour. This is your chance to reconnect, recharge, and be inspired by an incredible lineup of speakers while enjoying delicious, healthy meals and snacks prepared by Emma herself. It's time to celebrate you and embrace this exciting chapter of life. Head to the show notes for the link to the event, and we can't wait to see you there. Just going back to what you were saying when you were working and how you started to feel that there was a shift in
Yeah.
how you were connecting at work.
Yeah.
You weren't enjoying it as much. What do you think attributed to that? Do you think, I do wonder, I wanted to ask you this question.
Mm.
I sometimes think when you hit midlife, do you think that your peers treat you differently? Do you think the environment isn't set up for women A going through menopause? Also, the fact that you are getting older, and I do hear this and I read about it that some women feel like they are just pushed out because there's no longer a space for them. So yeah, I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Oh, menopause is a really it's a challenging topic to talk about. And I really I know there's probably people listening to this podcast that might be entering that phase of life, and I would hate them to go away from this conversation dreading it, thinking it's like the enemy, because I'm not sure that's very helpful, and I don't think that it necessarily is. Um, like, unfortunately, I am one of the 20% of women that have severe symptoms of menopause. 20% of women will have little, if any, or noticeable symptoms, and 60% of women will have mild to moderate symptoms. So I just want to put that out there, because if I'm going to start sharing my story, it's not
Yeah.
everybody's story. And when I started, and you, Michelle, will be the same. When we entered perimenopause 10 years ago, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, nobody talked about that. I knew there was this thing called menopause. Nobody talked about it. There was no support. GPs didn't know a lot, still probably don't know enough, and there wasn't, it was just a very taboo topic. So what I've experienced, and probably what you may have experienced, that doesn't mean the future generations are going to experience that. So just want to put that out there, because I would hate people to make menopause a villain. That said, menopause has been very difficult for me, for sure. Like, I have had quite severe symptoms, sleepless nights, and as you know, sleep deprivation, trying to work in a challenging role, 10 to 12-hour days with very little sleep was
Yeah.
very, very, very hard. I was then having, I still am, and I might have one during this conversation, hot flushes, like
Yeah.
honestly, like probably on average towards the end of my working life, like 1 an hour for lasting anything from 3 to 5 minutes. And they would be preceded by this wave of nausea. And so trying to stay focused and concentrate when that's happening was really hard. And then there's the memory loss and the foggy head and all of that stuff, right? So that was going on, and I look back now and think I should have spoke about that more. I should have like I remember one time when a guy working for me, lovely guy, got quite frustrated with me. He said, "We've had this conversation before, Jane, and you said this, and now you're saying this." And I was like, "Oh my god, have we?" And I'm flicking through my notebook and I'm trying to find the notes because I took so many notes because I was always forgetting things. And then I went home and I woke up in the night like I was doing. I was stressing about it, and I'm thinking, if he's that frustrated with me, this must have happened lots of times. And he's verbalizing that. Therefore, he's really frustrated. He probably thinks I'm lying, or he thinks I'm insane, or he thinks I'm going batty. And that was like, that was happening more and more. And I probably should have spoke about it, said what I was going through. Like, but it's easier said than done, you know? And to your point about does the environment allow for menopausal women, I don't want to say it doesn't, because that feels like I'm putting the blame on, corporate world and saying they don't respect it. I probably should have done more to talk about it and educate my colleagues about it. And I look back now and think, God, I could have been a real role model. I could have done a lot more than I did. So I think it probably says more about me than it does about the organization and about the mindset that I was in. But I was tired. I was embarrassed. I shouldn't be, but I was, about the hot flushes. And I was embarrassed about my memory. And I felt like I didn't feel confident anymore. Like I just felt like I'm not up to this job and it's time for me to move on, which is very sad. And I would urge any woman that's starting to feel that way, don't ignore it. Go see your GP, track your symptoms. There's lots of help available. I just, I unfortunately was told I couldn't take hormone replacement therapy either, which I would have been a great candidate for. I'm now on it. I now
Yay. And
found
how's
someone
it
that would
going?
let
Good?
me have it.
Oh,
Well,
wow. And how do
it's
you
only been a week, so
Oh, okay. All right.
yeah,
I'll
it's only
ask you
been
in
a
a
week,
month.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it take a little bit longer, but I do feel already a bit clearer in my head, I have to say. Um,
Yeah,
Definitely
and your
feel a bit
sleep.
the brain fog's clearing a bit.
Yeah. Are you finding sleep
Sleep,
has
not yet.
improved?
No,
It's only a
no,
week
because the hot
though.
flushes and the night sweats are still there.
Oh,
But I'm
poor
sure it will
thing.
come. I'm confident it will come. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's, just listening to you, I can imagine what it must have been like. You've got such a big job and it's a big part of your life and who you are. And all of a sudden the monster of menopause hits. And it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with because then you've gone from being a confident, self-assured person that you know what you're doing to then questioning your ability. And it's really sad. And I think there are many, many women who are feeling like this. And why I ask, do organizations support it? I don't hear about many that do. I think it's definitely changing because our generation is way more vocal because we're more open to talk about it. But it's really sad because who wants to become redundant? Nobody. Like we don't. We should be able to still be working in these positions. But what I'm so happy for you is that you've made this massive change. And I think, because I've known you for years, I've noticed a change in you. I feel like this weight's been lifted. You just seem like this free person and you're so excited about the future. But I know, like I said, I think our jobs really define who we are. And now that you are not working in that environment, how does that
Mm,
make you feel that you're not defined by Jane the corporate as opposed to Jane the empty
yeah,
nester
Jane.
traveling? Like how does that make you feel?
or free is definitely the word. Like you said it there, freedom. I just feel so free. I like the shackle. And again, I don't want to make it sound like, because I have had an amazing
Yeah, of
career. So
course.
it's not, it sounds, I don't want it to be like I'm whinging, but I just feel so free and easy. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. Um, I'm just enjoying, like, just being, just, you know what is amazing? Like, I can go walk down the street. It happened this morning, took the dog for a walk, and I've just sold my house, right? I'm not going to be here for much longer. And I feel so bad because I walk down the street and there's this little old guy that lives down the road. And I've seen him for the last however many years walk his dog up the road. And I've never, I might, wave, never stopped to chat to him. And yesterday and today, I stopped and we had a good chat. And like, he's so interesting. And he was telling me about his wife and his new dog because his dog passed away. They got a new dog. And I had the time to just stand and chat to him for a good 10, 15 minutes. And it just feels so good to be able to do that, just connect with human beings and
Yeah.
with nowhere to rush. I'm not rushing to be anywhere. I don't have to be in a meeting at 9 o'clock. And actually, I was on a course at 9 o'clock, but um, all right, this was very early. I had lots of time. Like, I can't tell you how that is not where I have been. I've always been rushing from one thing to another, never got time to speak
Yeah.
to people, or never made time to speak to people. That is just, it's just being a human being instead of
Yeah. Just being,
working all
isn't
the
it?
time. Yeah, just being.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing,
I
just being. And even just daft things like, this bird flew up, I heard this noise, and this bird had grabbed something from the ground. I still don't know what it was. And it was trying to it's trying to fly up to the rooftop, but it had this thing in its mouth and it was obviously weighing it down. I just stopped and watched in awe of this bird, and I'm thinking, what's it got in its mouth, and is it going to make it to the roof? And like, just, I would never have even noticed that bird a year ago. It's been so busy in my own head, um, and it sounds so stupid to say that, but it nature's amazing when you allow yourself to see it. And if you feel good, you feel alive.
Oh,
It's been amazing.
absolutely. And tell me a little bit more about your traveling, your caravan
Yeah.
and your short travels, because you go for a while, then you come back, and then you take off again. Being for you, like, especially traveling with Rob, being with your husband 24/7. I really wanna know more about that.
Oh, look, I am very, very, well, you know this and you know Rob. I am very, very lucky in my relationship with Rob. We have been very fortunate that we've grown. I think we've grown together, and not, I know that doesn't happen for every couple, but we've been very fortunate that we've grown together. And we always have had separate interests, and we still do, and hope we always will, because that's really healthy. But we are very much shared values, and we love some of the same things. So, like traveling, luckily, we both love caravanning. And so, spending 24 hours with each other was fantastic. Like, we hardly ever rowed. And when we
Yeah.
did, and I can think of probably two rows that we had, we just ended up laughing. Like, I think humor is a great tool. And I'm picturing a couple of funny things, but we just laugh about it and then go, yeah, that was a bit ridiculous what we argued about. And the other thing that we did, and it's funny because we don't do it now, we're back home again, in between travels, but every not every night, but probably every second or third night, we would literally have a debrief. So we'd say, okay, how's the trip going? Are we getting what we wanted out of it? How's it working together? Are we happy with the
Oh,
kind of places we're staying in? Are we seeing the things we really want to see? Is there anything that you
yeah.
really want that you're not doing or not getting? You have this conversation every few days because you're moving every few days. So it's an opportune time to say, well, is this the kind of campsite we want to be at? Is this the sort of place we want to be spending time? We did that every few days, and, like, we never do that. We haven't done it since we got back, which I'm, like, now thinking, "Well, why?" Because why wouldn't you debrief every few days on how your life's
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
especially if it is
Checking
short?
in.
Yeah, checking in, and we just did that all the time, and honestly, we just got on like a house on fire. Like, we just got closer and closer. And, it was like we didn't have Emily. And, it's weird, but the dynamic of three people is a bit weird. Like, we weren't able to have more children, unfortunately, but there's definitely a dynamic with three. And it would usually be Rob and Emily against me because they're very, very close. And so I know it sounds weird to say it, but because she wasn't in the mix, as much as we loved her
Yeah.
and missed her and spoke to her every day, it was just the two of us. And so this amazing opportunity just to reconnect as a couple that we were for so long before we were able to have Emily was magical, actually. It was really magical. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because it's a
And the
real
people that you meet traveling, shell like sorry, the
yes.
people that you meet as well, oh my God, you just meet so many diverse people. Again, you have all this time to just chat to people that you wouldn't normally
Yeah,
chat to.
yeah.
And everyone's so vulnerable and open. Like, I think because they know they might never see you again. God, people tell you their whole life story and
Really?
all their problems. And yeah, it's
Wow.
fascinating. And you're just like, wow, you've experienced that. Um, yeah, I
Deep
love that.
wisdom.
Loves meeting
Who
people.
yeah,
Mm.
and I think obviously you're meeting people that are possibly a little bit older than you. Or did you find that? Because, yeah, they talk about the
No.
boomers are the ones, but oh, okay, that's interesting.
Oh, well, no, we did. There were lots of older people. There were definitely lots of retirees for sure,
Mm,
but very young at heart. Like a lot of them, you wouldn't know. Like I remember we went for dinner one night with this couple. I just assumed they were in their like early 60s and they were in their late 70s. I couldn't believe
wow.
it. But no, we also met a lot of younger people, like in their 20s and 30s, like a lot of families that are just going traveling around Australia while the kids are young before they go to school. So there's a lot of
Yeah,
that. We met a lot of couples with babies. And then we had a lot of international travelers that we met. Again, like in their 20s or 30s, have come over for a few months, maybe worked in Australia for a bit and now traveling around. And the lovely thing when you're traveling is like age, it's so odd. Age is kind of not a thing. Like people in if you're camped next to somebody, you just get talking to them. Doesn't matter whether they're 90 or 15. Like you just that's what you do. It's
yeah.
like the etiquette. And then you end up sitting around with a beer or a glass of wine and you just have a chat at night around the campfire, whatever. Um, like you just kind of tend to do that. And so we met a lot of retirees for sure, but we just met all kinds of different people. Um, it's amazing.
Wow. And has this made you want to continue doing these big road trips? Like, is that the
Yeah, yeah,
plan, just to
definitely.
keep doing it?
Definitely. Yeah, we want to go over to, we have talked about doing
Mm.
the full lap of Australia, maybe
Yeah,
next year. But we're just not sure at this point. Like, we definitely will want to go over to Western Australia because we haven't done that side yet. And that will be a longer trip, obviously, because we've got to get over there. So we're probably thinking maybe the next trip's 5 to 6 months. And we'll go over and do that. But again, we're just keeping an open mind because we move house in a couple of weeks and I want to establish myself in this new community and depends how we're feeling. Like if we're loving that and don't quite feel ready to go and explore again,
mm.
we'll just wait. We're not in any
And
rush,
that's also
but definitely lots more travel. Mm.
yeah, and you're moving out of Sydney now, so that's a massive change. And I know you grapple with that for a while because it's like, but all my friends are here because your family's back in the UK. And I would find that really, really hard because we all like our comforts, don't we? And what we know is like better the devil you know. So to actually in midlife pick up and move away and start somewhere new, yeah, I mean that I would find that scary. Exciting, but scary. How are you preparing yourself for this new change?
Yeah, it is exciting and it is scary. How am I preparing myself? I have done a lot of thinking about when I was, I don't know how old I was now, late 30s, I left the UK and came to Australia. And I came with my job, and Emily was 3, and obviously Rob came with me. That was massive, Michelle. Like, I left. I mean, you're talking the time difference, 24 hours to get back to the UK. Like, that was the biggest change I've ever made in my life.
Huge.
And again, I only
Yeah.
did it because I thought it was short term. I thought it was 2 to 3 year placement. I never could have done it if I thought I was moving here forever. But I think what's really, really been helpful is thinking back to that decision and how has it been? And because I went back to the UK, so we did quite a bit of traveling. We were off, went all the way to the top of Australia to Cape York. And then I flew back to the UK for my mum's 80th and saw all my girlfriends back in the UK. And it was amazing. Like I just had such an amazing time with my girlfriends. And it just helped me for reflecting on that, thinking, well, you're still friends with them. Like you had the best time and you
Yeah.
haven't lived in the UK for 16 years, but those friends are still there. They'll always be there. And so reflecting on that's really helped me because I've been, thinking about you and our group and my book club ladies and my netball girls and all of
Of
that and my
course.
gym buddies. And they'll still be friends. And in Sydney is an hour and 10 minutes from where I'm moving to. I can come back every month if I want. It's not like I've got to get on a plane for 24 hours. So I'm preparing myself by telling myself this is nowhere near as big a change as it was
Mm,
coming here. And I know that I was a lot younger. Um, and I've learned, like, when I've gone traveling has taught me I can connect with people, I can make new friends wherever I go. And all I'm going to do is add to my friendship group. I'm not giving stuff up. I'm actually adding to it. I'm going to have more friends, hopefully.
but
Um,
don't
and
forget
a
about
whole
the
new
old
world to
ones,
explore.
okay?
I won't. Don't worry. I won't be forgetting about. Definitely won't be forgetting you, Michelle. Don't worry.
Uh,
No, definitely won't. So I think
yeah,
it's
it's exciting.
that's how I'm preparing myself. It's just reminding
Mm,
myself I've done this before and it was a much bigger move. Um,
yeah.
and I've already
Ah,
signed up for a pickleball comp and a netball
oh
comp.
gosh.
I've got two friends from Sydney that are also moving to the Central Coast, and we've already arranged to meet up. So like I'm kind of doing some practical things as well to kind of
Yeah,
get
you'll be
myself in the right
fine.
headspace.
But I think it's that sense of community, that sense of connection. It's so important in every stage of your life. But I'm finding now even more so because life can change
Definitely.
dramatically in this stage of life. So as long as you've got connection with people, you're fine. You'll find friends wherever you go, won't you? And just I'm really excited for you. I can't wait to come see
Oh,
your
thanks,
house.
Shell.
And yeah, it is. And it's like, well, you're probably the first out of our group of friends to be doing something like this, so you're gonna be the person we're all gonna be asking for advice because it's daunting, but you have made it seem so doable that you don't have to fear the change. Sometimes it's the unknown that we fear, but just take that step and see. And what's also really exciting is, yes, you might have left your big corporate role, but now you've started a course, a coaching course, because you're an amazing person that connects so well with others and you want to help others. And I want to know more about that because that's going to be, the new start in your second act journey.
Yeah, so I've actually done quite a bit of studying. So the first course I did was in nutrition when I was on my first trip traveling. I did this online course in nutrition and diet, which has been amazing. And I'm going to do the second part of that, which means if I want to, I can become a nutrition and health coach. So I'll start that at the end of November. But then I signed up for this coaching course. It's an international coaching course because I've done lots of coaching in the past, but I felt like I'd gone from switch from coaching mode into a bit of telling and advising as opposed to really proper coaching. So I
Yeah.
thought it's time to sharpen the pencil. I've got the time. I want to go and study it and actually get an accreditation, qualification, and sort of validate that this is something that I am good at. So I'm studying this coaching course. It's not a specialist course. It can take you in any avenue you want, executive coaching or life coaching or whatever. And I'm also studying, I haven't told you about this, but I'm also
Sure.
studying, it's only they're both short courses, but on menopause and perimenopause, nutrition and hormones.
Wow.
Because yeah, I'm just really what I'm learning through this course is and through some of my peer coaching that I'm doing, I really love helping women at this stage of life
Yeah.
um, thrive through this transition because, I don't, I what didn't probably get as much support as I probably needed. So all of these courses, I'm going, I'm really enjoying that. And if I can help women thrive through this transition, through coaching and then through some knowledge that I've got now about menopause and perimenopause and diet and all the rest of it, then that wouldn't that be an amazing thing to do? And I don't know whether I'll end up doing that, but it's something that it's a light bulb that's sort of there at the minute
Yeah,
thinking about.
that's it. And that's what you have
Yeah.
to do. You get that little inspiration, then why not just go down that road and see where that might take you? It
Explore.
might not take you
Yeah.
anywhere, but it's also that thing of keep learning, keep challenging yourself. it's exciting because just because you've walked away from a very demanding role to nothing, it doesn't mean that that's just gonna be life now. I'm just gonna sit back and just wait till the end of the day, like, you can't think that way, and we're still so young, and we still have so much to do. So when you told me you were doing this course and now you're doing this other one, I think it's great. I think you will be amazing at something like that
Oh,
and
thanks,
helping
Shell.
other women who are feeling similar because there's so many of us that are feeling stuck. And yeah, so talking to people like yourself, it's like, see, it's doable. We can make little changes that make a big change to our own lives. Absolutely. So the Jane
Absolutely.
from last year to the Jane today, how different is she? Have you gotten to know a different side of yourself?
Um, yeah, I definitely have. I mean, there's elements of me that are still there, like I was laughing about this with Rob last night. I said about both of us actually. I said we're incapable of being bored. Like we just we just fill our lives with other things. Like we just fill
Yeah.
that gap of work with all these other things, like busy and cooking and all this kind of stuff, and pickleballing. Oh, all these new things that I do. So definitely learned there are aspects of myself that will always be there, and that's me. The busy me is still there. Um, but what I have learned, like I was saying earlier, is just I'm definitely slowed down, not in a negative way, but just I pause a lot more. I just take in what's happening around me. I allow space that's not jam packed in a day to just be and think, what do I want to do now? Do I want to read? Do I want to bake? Do I want to go for a walk? So I don't jam pack my days full of things which I could easily do. Um,
Yeah.
and I still end up doing lots of things, but it's in the moment what feels right in that moment. So actually, I think the thing I've learned is to just be present and realize that I'm actually quite good at that. And I actually really like just being here, present in the here and now, not thinking too far ahead or thinking about the past, but just living the moment. Um, and it's really joyful to do that.
Oh, that's so nice. So I'm so happy and excited for you. And I can't wait to
Thanks.
see where your second act's gonna take you, especially, with possibly your coaching or travel. It's exciting. I'm so excited about this stage in life, and I want others to feel the same. So I
Mm,
love speaking
me
to you.
too.
That's why I've been wanting to get you on the podcast for a long time. So now you actually gave me the time. So thank you very much.
I
But
always
I'd
give you
love to,
time.
yeah. But to come on, it's been great. Thank you for sharing your story. I know it's going to, resonate with a lot of people listening. But I also like to end my episodes with the same question. And sometimes a powerful quote can offer us guidance and insight. Is there a quote that has stuck with you throughout your life?
Yeah, when you asked me that question, I was like, I knew immediately. And then I've been thinking a lot about it, like, how has this shaped my life? And I think it's um, such an obvious quote for what we've been talking about today. And I think it was Nelson Mandela. And I'm
Oh,
probably misquoting him slightly, but the essence is definitely there. And the quote is, courage is not feeling fear. It's taking action despite the fear.
mm, yeah, that's right.
And that's like, I feel fear just like everybody else. Like, I am so scared about leaving this gorgeous house and leaving Sydney and moving to Central Coast. Like, I am really scared, but I'm doing it anyway because I've learned through my life, you feel fear and you just do it anyway. And it usually works out.
Yeah,
And if it doesn't, no decision is, well, there are some decisions, but most decisions are not final.
that's
So,
right.
yeah, feel the fear and just do it. What have you got to lose?
Love it.
And then one other thing I learned in my coaching course the other day, Shell, linked to fear, thought this was really interesting, was fear. So someone said it's an acronym and it stands for false evidence appearing real.
Oh, wow.
Now, how often are we fearful of things that aren't even real?
Yeah,
Like, I was
because
like,
it's all in our
that is
head.
so true. It's all in
Yeah,
our
that
head.
is.
"Oh, if I do this, this will happen, and it'll all
Yeah,
go wrong, and blah, blah, blah." And it's not
yeah.
real. It's false evidence that appears real. So I
I
like that
love
too.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. That's awesome.
No, no.
Well, thank you, my love. I've loved this chat.
Thank you,
Good luck.
darling.
Good
I
luck
do.
with your
Thank
move.
you so much.
And yeah, we will
And
definitely
I'm so
catch up
excited for
soon.
you, Shell. This podcast is amazing. I know you felt the fear and you did it anyway, and good on you.
Yeah. But like you, I still feel it all the time. It's those, I guess it's those voices that you hear in your head, that noise. But I don't know. I don't believe in giving up and going back. It's all about moving forward. And sometimes it might mean moving in a different direction, but you've got to take the step in order to work that out. So
That's right.
that's my big
Keep putting
thing.
one foot in
Yeah.
front of the other. Yeah,
See, what have you got to lose?
yeah, that's right.
Bye, my love. Thank you.
Bye, my love. Lovely to see you. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Your Second Act. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could rate and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to me.